don't forget, it is 11 days and 20 hours to the presidential and national elections. So many options to look at. 18 registered political parties. That is what we have on ground. Yeah, although some political parties may or may not have, candidates for some positions, but then all of the 18 political parties all have presidential candidates. So it is very important that we stay updated and know what exactly is happening. Now, before we move on, my name is Omobola Sandra. I don't do this alone. I do this with Okoyemi Akinyode and Fuad Sahid. Good morning, Okoyemi.
Good morning, Sandra. Well, just like you said, it's about 11 days and 20 hours to the presidential and the National Assembly election. And it looks like everything is, taking shape gradually. Over the weekend, I was on the group conversation with some people, and everyone alluded to the fact that the decision of the Supreme Court to, at least for now,
the cash crunch,
the whole issue and all of that, the status quo should remain to pre-31st of January. It kind of brought some calmness, and around even the cost at which people are buying the naira is coming down now. Now it's now 600 naira for 5,000, 1,002 for 10,000. I mean, we continue to go around and a check update for all of these things. But going forward, 11 days to the election. This is not a midterm election. It is not some states election as we had it last year. We had 3 gubernatorial elections last year in Anambra earlier in the year, in Ekiti State in the middle of the year, and of course in November last year in Osun State. But this is the presidential election. This is an election that is going to cover the 36 states and the FCT, the over 176,000 polling units, the 774 local governments. So it's a big election. It's not just that election where the police can send 30,000 people to one state. No. They can't afford there's no time for that. Every single state is going to be involved. Every single state is going to have this defining moment. And if you look at the number of Nigerians are interested in, a lot of young people are also interested in it. And one question that I consistently
there's apologies to cut you, but or should I say register their PVCs are the students and the youths, and
both registered and
should close
down
for the students to go home. I want to take us back a bit to, during collection season when ASU was on strike, and then some months after they told them to go back, and the students went back, but some of them were unable to collect their PVC. There was no such directive. So what impact do you think opening up the schools or shutting down the schools and telling students to go home and vote, do you think that will have any significant impact in this election?
Massive. It's going to, for them to make that decision, I'm sure it's not just about the safety of the student alone that was considered by the Nigerian University Commission. I'm sure they listened to a lot of people say we're not able to transfer our PVCs from where we registered. A lot of them were at home during the strike, and that was when the continuous voter registration was going on. So many of them have gone back to school, had to rush through. Some completed a session, some had to complete a semester, wrote exams, and now the NUC had said schools should close within a period to a period. So what that means is that if you happen to register in Lagos, for instance, and you're unable to transfer your PVC to where your school is, maybe for instance you're schooling in Nsukka, or you're schooling in maybe Federal University of Technology Owerri, for instance, and you registered in Lagos and they were not able to transfer your PVC, but you're sure that your PVC is ready. But now my fear is this: a lot of these students were already in school during the period of the PVC collection. Many of them didn't even collect their PVCs. So even when they come back home, they still won't be able to vote because they didn't get their PVC. So it's I don't know. I don't know how much influence this decision would have on the election. But be that as it may, it's very important that for those ones that were able to pick up their PVCs, for those ones that were able to transfer, they should come back home and vote, so that we don't disenfranchise people on the basis of wanting to have another right. Education is a right, the same way with voting. So no right should infringe on the other right. So if you're able to pick up your PVC and you're able to come back home and do your thing, then it means that you will be able to register. I'm really happy that the percentage is for the young people, the collection is for the students, the registration for the young people between the ages of 18 and 35. Over 50% of the PVC registered are within that age bracket, even the collection as well. So what that means is that if you are to leave your school to come back to wherever you are from, maybe Mina to Lagos, from Imo State to Abeokuta, from wherever you are. The most important thing is that you will be able to exercise your franchise, all things being equal. The timing of that close down, I don't know, but the most important thing is that
for the after the state elections,
you never can tell, Sandra. You never can tell. Now, I'm even talking about the closure for the pickup of the PVC. Now, a lot of people that registered that couldn't get their PVCs transferred to where they were when the PVC collection was going on, they were not able to pick it up. But a lot of people were able to. And don't be surprised, Sandra, that some of these people that we're talking about, we're not talking about 500,000 people, we're talking about millions of students that would probably pick up that PVC. So nobody is going to be disenfranchised on the basis of, I couldn't get my card transferred except you didn't pick up your card.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Fuad, for joining in on the conversation. Good morning once again.
Good morning, Sandra. Thank you for having me.
All
Good
right.
morning, Opeyemi.
Good morning.
Now, moving on past students being allowed to go home to vote, we're also looking at pre-election polls. There's been a lot of pre-election opinion polls being given, starting with the one, the NOI opinion poll that was held last year. And there's something that seems to be significant in all of the polls. It seems to be pitching tent, for one particular candidate. And now, a lot of chieftains from different political parties have come forward to dismiss these opinion polls. Do you think that these opinion polls in any way or the other have any impact on the electorate?
Well, I think you have to look at the sample size that the opinion pollsters were working with. That would tell you whether we should take any of the poll results seriously or not. I think the last poll basically just worked with people in the urban center. I think one of the polls even talked about that it was a phone conversation with, I think, people selected randomly from different parts of the country, and that was the basis of the poll. The reality is that polls are not something we should take too seriously in this part of the world. You can't compare the way polls are conducted in the
because opinion polls in America are a huge factor to their elections.
And sometimes the polls also go wrong. The Hillary Clinton Trump election taught us a big lesson. Most of the polls showed that Hillary was going to win the election,
but she won the popular vote with over 3 million.
But she never became president.
Donald Trump won the electoral college.
But what I think that the polls are the polls as they are, but I don't think it's going to be a major decider or anything, or it will determine how the votes will swing. Because again, if you had to conduct a poll majorly in your urban centers or probably with people who use social media who are well informed.
You mean political elite?
Sandra, I can tell you, I don't have the complete demographic or the data, but I can tell you that I should be able to tell you that at least 60% of potential voters in the next election don't even have a first degree. And that should tell you something about the people who are looking at.
Does that counter your statistics, Okwe?
On the contrary, the issue of polls, it works in both ways. One, it depends on the independence of the body conducting the polls.
Okay.
Most of these independent bodies, in quotes, they already have sentiments. They have they are dependently independent, if I'm allowed to use that word. I mean, they have someone somewhere that is footing the bills. They have, proud intention of what they want to achieve with the polls. And basically, if you look at around the world where polls are being taken seriously, it's supposed to be for two things. One, to identify your strength as a political party or as a candidate. And secondly, to identify your weaknesses as a political party and as a candidate. And if you look at the electoral structure in Nigeria, it means that you must get the 2/3 majority of the all vote casts. That means you cannot win a region and expect to be declared president. You cannot win 2 regions and expect to be declared president. You must at least get some percentage from every other region before you get the total number of what you would be declared the president with. So if you have a poll, for instance, and we're looking at about a potential 80-70 million people, or let me say 55-56 million people that picked up their PVC, I have a study sample of 3,000. Please, how does 3,000, how does it reflect? It's not even up to 0.00001% of the number we're talking about. So polls, see, we have 11 days to the election. I'm going to be very sincere with you. Whatever poll result that comes out now, I don't know how significant it could be for the politicians themselves. Because if you tell me that 11 days to the election, there are still minds that are undecided, that's one of the things that I use to discredit your polls. I can tell you for a fact that a lot of Nigerians, 90% of Nigerians that want to vote already know who they want to vote for. Whatever is driving that decision, I don't know. Whatever that bias is, if it's religious, political affiliation, I don't know. But for now, if you're really serious about the growth of this country, 11 days to the election, you shouldn't be undecided.
Very, very true. Very, very true. Okay, so now looking at very quickly, because we have some sound bites that we need to listen to this morning, and also still get opinions of our listener. But before we move on, I would just also like to ask this question. Yesterday on Political Roundtable, there was a conversation as regards politicizing of the CBN policy. I got Fuhad's opinion on that this morning, but I would like to also get Okwemi Akinwade's opinion. Do you think that the CBN cash policy, the redesign cash policy, has been heavily politicized?
Yes. From the statement that was made by the CBN, they said they want to use it to curb vote buying, to take monies that have been stored away from politicians. So that alone has sold and politicized the policy, and it's very difficult. And then when you have politicians coming out to give opinions, and people are beginning to take the opinions of those politicians serious, that means it has been heavily politician. The candidate of the ruling APC came out to say that the scarcity of fuel and the scarcity of naira was used to sabotage, or is being used to sabotage his election. That means it's been politicized. So if you say that you don't want vote buy, it is politicians that buy votes. So it's been, and that's why I feel so pained about that policy. Bringing in new currencies is not a big deal. It's a normal thing everywhere around the world. So when you have a simple administrative policy, and then you bring so much political, coloration to it, it defeats the purpose. Now we're back to spending whole notes. So the question is this: the politicians that you intend to use that particular policy to pull money from them, have you been able to achieve that? How many of these politicians actually took their monies to the bank? Because they are the one that now put pressure back on the CBN to make it to rescind the policy, apart from the Supreme Court's judgment.
Looking at, just to reinforce what you're saying, majority of the governors who are, I know that other states have joined in on this suit.
On those states just filed their own, I think, on Friday or thereabouts.
So looking at all of these states, almost about 9 states and counting now, looking at all of these states, majority of it, I think about 90-something%, they're APC governors. And what we think that, it's your administration that is bringing it. So what exactly is happening? And then you have opposition heavily behind the CBN saying no, let's go ahead. So with all of that conversations, a lot of people are going with the fact that maybe it has been heavily politicized. Now let's move on to.
Sorry, Sandra, is there a maybe?
It has been.
I'm trying to understand the maybe in it.
And I think one of the callers or somebody that sent a text this morning.
He sent a text. He said
something very instructive. He said, "Look, when did the CBN become INEC's?"
Let me see if I can get the message.
Very interesting message.
I had to note that
message.
Look,
this is a CBN governor that should be worried about monetary policies, fiscal policies, looking at how to stabilize the naira against the forex.
This person said that CBN should be known for monetary policies, but now doing oversight function for INEC as regards vote buying. That's Pastor Jackie from Laos.
Because one would have thought
I had to note that message.
The EFCC, the ICPC, the police working with INEC to fight vote buying. So when suddenly did it become a priority?
Why did CBN take it upon itself?
The job.
But you can't rule CBN out of the election.
They're
in charge of the sensitive and non-sensitive.
But to now begin to work on the issue of vote buying is what this. And I think it's quite.
If you came forward and said kidnapping or fraud or something, okay, or maybe the simple fact that it's been long we redesign.
Oh, there are too many old notes out there. Let us freshen things up.
There are too many illicit funds that are ordered. We need to bring them back into.
It's okay,
but when
fine,
the
first of it was on vote buying.
The major reason was vote buying. But let's look away from that, because taking a point from that one and looking at what is happening within different political parties, and especially what is happening in the APC. So far we have about 6 governors who have taken the federal government,
their own party,
to the Supreme Court. Yahaya Bello, Nasir El-Rufai, Rotimi Akeredolu,
Ganduje is also in court, or
Zamfara, what's his name?
Matawali.
They have all taken, all of these governors, they have all taken, the federal government to court, thereby
a simple administrative policy. As in,
it's not. You see, the thing is this. I think we are forgetting so quick to the fact that the way we play politics here is not the way it's played in other parts of the world. And the reality is that we have the president, we have the presidency, we have a presidential candidate, we have the party, and I think all of this is showing that Asiwaju has a uphill task ahead of him if he wants to win. We can gloss over it, we can paraphrase it. The reality is that he has a huge mountain to climb.
So it's more like an intra-party conflict now.
And really, one had thought that it was the PDP that had a big crisis. What is happening in the APC, Sandra?
And for Okoyemi, I'm sure you will not forget the day that we had one of the Lagos State Assembly candidates, PDP, who came in, and he said there's something he said that I don't think I've been able to get out of my mind, is the fact that APC can do their propaganda and all of that, but PDP, all they know is drama. And picking that now, we're going to listen to Dele Momodu's statement as regards the infighting or the internal crisis that's ongoing between the two major parties in Nigeria. I'm talking about the APC and the PDP. And Dele Momodu was on a televised monitor program this morning. Let's not forget that Dele Momodu is one of the spokespersons for the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. So he said, and I leave that at that.
Northern candidate. In this election, the leading northern candidate is Atiku Abubakar, with two strong southern candidates, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu from Lagos State, from southwest Nigeria, and the third force, former Governor Peter Obi, from the southeast. The only candidate in this race who has his footprints in other parts of Nigeria is Atiku Abubakar. The two in the south will fight themselves, one in the southeast, one in the southwest. Atiku does not suffer that kind of challenge. I know you are likely to say, oh, no. In 1979 and in 1983, we had Malam Aminu Kano who was in charge in Kano. It's always been like, it's the same replay.
It's not just the Kwankwaso factor. There are APC governors.
No, that's where I'm going.
Strategic places in the north.
Don't worry.
Would they make themselves politically relevant?
There is nothing they can do. Many of them are already lame dogs. There is nothing they can do about it. The reason.
All right, that's as regards the chances of the four presidential candidates. I think we'll just walk with that one before we get into the crisis in the APC and the PDP. You're listening to 98.3 Mainland FM, and that's, you just heard Dele Momodu's voice as regards the chances of the four presidential candidates. He says now about regions and, the strength of each candidate in the different regions and what may or may not, be a factor to them emerging victorious at the presidential elections.
I listened to him this morning, and all I got from what he said was that this was just a politician living in his own dreams and imagination. And I'll tell you, because again, I listened to the analysis and I was like, Bob D is just faffing around with people this morning. He talked as if the only strength of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in the southwest, basically. He talked as if, Peter Obi's only strength is in the southeast, and that's where it ends. And his postulation on the show this morning, on this monitored show this morning, was that, look, Atiku was going to have a clean sweep all over the north. And I'm like, where is this coming from?
He's coming from the spokesperson of the political
That's why I
party.
said he was just living in his own imagination. He talked that, when asked about the strength of the APC governors in the north, he said, Asiwaju is all relying on the governors of the APC in the north to deliver for him. But look, what the governors were going to be able to do for him is just 25% votes in those northern states. I'm like, really? Look at what he said about Kano State. He forgot that the Aminu Kano he mentioned, against all odds, defeated both the NCNC and Awolowo in Kano State, PRP of Aminu Kano in the 70s, won in that state. Because people are saying that if you are not careful, a Kwankwanso could take Kano because he has the structure, he has the base. So he talked about, Aminu Kano has always been there. Because the question that he was asked was, look, one of the Kwankwanso movements in the north, don't you think that is enough headache for the PDP to begin to think about? So I just saw somebody who came, to sell Atiku, to believe that Atiku was going to win, that was a done deal. Yeah, what I'm just trying to say is that, look, Sandra, look, an analysis of the 6 geopolitical zones have shown that, look, it's going to be a very tough battle.
I mean, that's why NEC is contemplating
even a runoff. For someone to now wake up and say, it's just going to be a done deal, Atiku is going to take it, he's going to win the entire north. The reality again, Sandra, is this. No presidential candidate has ever won the presidential seat by being a regional president. Even when Muhammadu Buhari was turning out the votes, 12 million, 50 million votes in the north, he never became president. Yep. So the reality is that, look, the APC has 21 governors.
Yes.
Which is a
22
huge,
governors and the FCT.
And the FCT, if you add the FCT. So it's not a joke. It's a huge one, Sandra. The PDP has how many governors? I think 14 governors.
Yeah, 14.
So it's not and after that 14, 5 is missing. Really from the game. So
one is upset.
And then somebody comes and say,
they're not missing forward, please.
They are missing from the PDP presidential campaign.
It's okay.
That's what I'm saying. And they just focus on their own elections and all
right.
of that. The reality, Sandra, is that, look, it's going to be a tough one between the 4 frontline presidential candidates. I would want to say that we may not conclude this election on the first ballot. There's a possibility that we're going to have a runoff.
For Opoemi, chances of the presidential candidate, as Dele Momodu has permutated.
If you interviewed Dino Melaye today, he's most likely going to say the same thing or even worse than Mr. Dele Momodu just said. If you bring in, for instance, Bayo Onanuga or Festus Keyamo, he's most likely going to tell you that, with 22 governors, the chairman of the Northern Governors Forum is the chairman of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. That's the governor of Plateau State, Governor Simon Bakola Long. He has El Rufai, he has Ganduje, the former deputy governor of Kano, the current 2-term governor of Kano. He has this, he has that. Everybody would most certainly do their job of being a public relation officer and sell their candidates. But the reality will dawn on everyone in 11 days' time. That's just what I have to say. Simple.
Okay, that's as regards the 4 presidential candidates, and because so far, if you look at permutations from different political pundits and analysts and whatnot, it's been a difficult call as regards who will be able to clinch where in recent times, especially with the emergence of Peter Obi as a major contender on the presidential ballot. Now, we also have another one here that we're still going to hear from Dele Momodu, what he still has to say and further. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Now threshold of 24 states. Elections are based on mathematics.
That's number 1. It's a mathematical. Number 3, you have to look at the factors that determine who people vote for. So, when you look at the mathematics of it, you have to combine that with the factors that influence the voters. Where you see the whites, the blacks, the Hispanics. In Nigeria, you have different major ethnic groups. Southwest, majority of those who are supporting Tinubu are supporting him because he's a Yoruba man. The Emilokan syndrome is also based on our Lokan. It's the turn of the Southwest, which, of course, like in the Southeast, who are also laying claim to the Emilokan. Then, in the North, you have one mainstream candidate, and that is Atiku Abubakar. The mathematics of it is that the North already has 19 states in the 3 regions, while in the 3 regions in the South, you have
Okay, that was actually interesting to hear. But that's still Dele Momodu's statement. Now it's talking about structure and how all of this
regional politics again.
Still on this regional conversation that we're having. But then one thing that if you listen further, one thing that I was able to take from it was the fact that he was pointing at one particular candidate as regards them being able to, what exactly do they have to stand on as regards in pursuance of their candidacy for presidency, which
structure,
of course
blah blah
that
blah, and all of
is
that,
still on Labour Party and the emergence of Peter Obi and the Obedient Movement. Okay, so yes, Peter Obi has been able to gather a lot of clout, a lot of noise, a lot of buzz, well, especially on social media and off social media and all of that. But political pundits will still insist that for you to be able to get what you're looking for, you still need some certain grassroots operations, and it is not the elites that are going to do that for you. It's some people that have been there, that are there, and they will always still be there even after the 2023 general elections. So as regards structure, the APC was able to put something together with the emergence of the CPC and the NPDP and the AD of ACN, thank you very much, of 2011, and they were able to put some sort of firm structure on ground. The PDP is the oldest. I'm talking about the contenders now, the major contenders. I'm not talking about as regards how long they've been around, but it's the oldest. They have been in power. They are the major opposition right now. So they, to some certain extent, Atiku Abubakar is not new on the political scene. He's the former vice president. Okay, so I'm putting it against a one-time, two-time governor. That's it. What would you say?
All right, I'll do a quick, I don't know whether time can permit us to do this, and this is just a simple analysis that we've done severally on Political Roundtable. Let's do state by state very fast, and Okwemi can either agree or disagree.
Can we do region by region?
Yeah, I'll be very fast with it. Let's start with the Southwest.
Okay.
Because again, the way Dele Momodu puts this thing out there this morning was as if, it was going to be an easy ride for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Let's start with Lagos, for example. I can tell you authoritatively my own predictions that, look, the Battle of Lagos is going to be between Mr. Peter Obi and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the reason why it's going to be a battle between the two is that, look, Asiwaju is a former governor. The APC rules Lagos. They have a governor in Lagos. They have the structure in Lagos. But the organic following of Peter Obi is going to be a big one for him. We saw the mega rally. That's an organic support. It's not induced in any way. It's a reality of what we have. And if you have followed the pattern of voting in Lagos, it's always been head to head between the APC and the PDP. But I can tell you that those traditional votes of the PDP this time would go to the Labour Party. So would APC win? Would Labour Party win? I can't say. It's going to be neck to neck in Lagos. I would
really appreciate if we can break this region by region, because we can't take 36 states.
No. I want to set this place on fire. I'm just listening.
I'll make it very brief. So it's going to be a battle between.
That's for Lagos.
My own, again, from what we're saying, these things are not.
I think the same would apply to Ogun State. So let's move now.
In Ogun State, in Ogun State, again, you don't have the dynamics of Lagos in Ogun State in terms of in terms of the metropolitan nature of Lagos, in terms of the diversity of Lagos. So the reality is that, look, the predictions by so many pundits is that, look, the Southwest, yes, would go to Asiwaju, but Mr. Peter Obi would do well.
We'll shake the numbers
in the Southwest. Okay. Whether it's going to be able to get 25%, 30% of votes in Lagos, Atiku will struggle in the Southwest. That's a clear thing. And I think Dele Momodu also agreed with that he is going to struggle this time in the Southwest. Or your state, he has a governor there who is not even interested in campaigning for him. Or Shu State,
Adeleke is still also having his own
problems and all of that. So he's going to struggle. Most likely, Asiwaju will take it. But I agree with people who believe Peter Obi will do well in the Southwest. In the Southeast, no matter the sentiments by governors, yes, APC has, I think, 2 governors in the Southeast. But I'm not sure they're going to be able to grind the numbers out for Asiwaju. I think the best Asiwaju will get in the Southeast will be 25%. Mr. Peter Obi will take the Southeast. That's a traditional zone of the PDP. Going to the Labour Party now. Whether anybody likes it or not, I'm sure that Mr. Peter Obi will take the Southeast. Asiwaju may take a 25%. Atiku may be a 25% too. But, from everything we're seeing, Peter Obi takes it. Let's go to the North Central, which is going to be heavily contentious. You have Kwara State, APC governor. Most likely Asiwaju will take Kwara State, but PDP will do well. Labour Party may not have a good showing in Kwara State because again you have Saraki who's going to slug it out with the governor. So the battle is going to be between the APC and the PDP, but most likely Asiwaju will take it. You have I'm looking at Kogi State. It's also a tough one. You have Yaya Bello who is going to try to work very hard.
James Falike.
You have James Falike who is going
of the campaign.
Then you have Dino Melaya and his own people too are still going to.
You still have Smart
Adeyemi too. So it's a battle between the PDP and the APC in that state. You go to a state like Benue State. I'm thinking that Peter Obi would do well in Benue State because again the governor seems
the body language of the governor
is for him.
Going to.
So he's going to do well. Would Asiwaju get a 25%? I'm hearing that look, the APC has a strong candidate as a governorship candidate in Benue State.
And then 2 of their 3 senatorial candidates are strong.
Are also very strong. So it's a battle. It's not going to be okay. What would be the performance of Atiku in Benue State, for example? I'm not sure it's going to do well in Benue State. In Plateau State, you have the governor Lalong, who is the chairman of the presidential campaign of the APC.
And he's the chairman of the Northern Governors. 19 governors.
He's an APC governor. And in that state, because of the Christian population, because of the Christian sentiment and all of that, you may have a Mr. Peter Obi doing very, very well also in that state. Taraba State, yes, I give it to the PDP. Atiku would do well because of, the governor is a PDP person. That's the Northeast, very close to, you understand. Which other state is in? I think Niger State. Most likely will go to the APC because of the governor, the structure we have on ground. Atiku will do well in Niger State too because, of course, the structure is there. Let's go to the North-West, which is the battle ground state of Katsina, Kano, Sokoto, Kebbi, Jigawa.
How did you skip Kaduna in the first place?
And Kaduna State,
Okay.
So, how would Atiku? Because, again, Dele Momodu is saying that, Asiwaju is relying on the governor. Who should he rely on to get the votes out?
The governor owns the structure at the start.
So, again, you go to the Northeast. Sandra is 3-3. 3 governors for the APC, 3 governors for the PDP. So, again, my prediction, because of time, we can't go through. We have done state by state.
I think we will.
And one day we have time to do it. But the reality is that I doubt that we are going to conclude this election on the 4th ballot. It could go to a runoff.
I'm not going to, because you've interjected a lot, so I'm guessing that you agree with
me. No, I want to disagree.
I'm going to be very sincere with you, Sandra. I've been privileged to move around some of these regions that Fuad has said, and the truth is this: the dynamics of this election are started from the fact that some candidates are now looking for just 25%. That shows how unpredictable this election is going to be. Now, APC's got Ebonyi states, they've got Cross River states. The body language of Governor Nyesom Wike in Rivers is not pointing towards Atiku Abubakar. So you look at all of those dynamics in the north, in the north central.
And even in Rivers, sorry to interject. I'm sure Mr. Peter B is going to do well in Rivers State.
He is, because
in Cross River is going to do well.
I think the whole chaos in the PDP is going to benefit Labour Party more than the APC, because there's going to be a lot of sympathy votes. There's going to be a lot of protest votes. There's going to be a lot of voter apathy in this election. Let us start preparing our mind for that. For the North Centre, Sandra, as against what Fuad is thinking, Plateau State is governed by an APC governor, by the chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, but Plateau State has been traditionally a PDP state. I'm not sure there's any state in Nigeria that has that strong opposition presence. In the face of another party, the opposition is still holding sway on the plateau. So the Plateau station is that the governorship candidate of the Labour Party is in that area there. So the candidate in Plateau State is between the PDP and the APC. For Kaduna, for instance, that is where the running mate of Peter Obi comes from. And they have a certain Malam Nasir El-Rufai that is on the face of Tinubu morning after night.
Let me do a prediction. That running mate will not deliver a senatorial zone. I can we can take a bet on that in Kaduna State.
It's okay. I'll off your mic.
It's just the
I'll off your mic. I'll off your mic.
You have to politics. I know what I'm saying. It's not going to deliver.
98.3 Mainland FM. You're on to Ballot 23. And we're having a conversation as regards the structure that all of the major parties are putting down. I don't know why nobody is saying anything about Kwakwan. So, former governor of Kano State,
you see, in the north, I think
the red cap is holding sway in some parts of.
You have the red cap, but there are different caps in the north. It's not only the red cap. We know that I think what the NNPP would do is to pick some positions.
NNPP will be a spoiler.
It will just be a spoiler. And I know that
they vote in neighboring states to Kano.
Not only Kano.
In Gombe, in Bauchi.
So you may see some senators emerge from the NNPP. Some House of Reps members will emerge from the NNPP. Some assembly members will emerge from the NNPP.
But for the presidency,
no,
I mean, 11 days is still far, Sandra. You don't even know who's going to still drop the gauntlet.
Just 2 days ago, the Kano Labour Party.
It's even yesterday. Yes, they said here we go. They did the Fabrizio
and he defected
straight up.
You know, so it's transfer season, so anything can happen. You know,
the guy would have not collected their ticket. Why did he hold on to the ticket only to go and?
At this crucial period.
I don't think.
But like I predicted, Sandra, more of these things will happen, especially at the governorship election.
I still have 2 more voice notes, so thank you very much, gentlemen. We're still listening to Dele Momodu's conversation this morning on Arise TV. It was quite an interesting one. So we'll listen to another one, and we'll be right back for analysis.
That is that. On the issue of structure, the obedience. Structure is not something that is out of this world. It is a needed requirement. How many governors have you got? Which is what Tinubu is banking on, that my governors will help me. How many senators or senators? They haven't got much of that. You are also going to need agents nationwide, thousands of them. That will form part of your structure. So a PDP that has been in existence since 1999, how do you want to compete against them when in every word they already have their structures? In every federal constituency, they already have their structures. If you say people, we don't pay shishi, you can see how people are moving away in droves in some of these smaller parties because the structures are not there. The structures also include the funding of each of those structures. But we shall see in the next 1 week what will happen. The polls will not help Obi. If they let 1 million polls say Obi is going to win, I can tell you for free that the structures don't favor him. Atiku is going to get all his 25% in the 19 northern states, and all he needs to cross 24 will be just 5 in the south. And in the south, as I said, wherever Obi is number 1, Atiku will be number 2. Wherever Tinubu is number 1, Atiku will be number 2. And Atiku will actually pick some states in the south. I'm very sure about that.
Well, Dele Momodu, thank you very much. February 25 will soon be here.
What you have in APC is a world war where governors are attacking their own president, attacking the leadership of their party frontally. In PDP, yes, 5 people. One of them agreed that he lost the election. That's normal. Some people lose election and they are able to go away quietly. Some people lose election and they become inconsolable. So Wike has been inconsolable. We've been trying to console, we've been trying to advise, we've been trying to plead with him, and he has refused. It is his choice. But in APC, what you have is a volcanic eruption. They are fighting as if Buhari is already out of power. In fact, Governor El-Rufai threatened that once Tinubu wins, we're going to reverse the policies of Buhari. I've never heard such a thing in my life. So that is that. On the issue of structure, the obedience are beginning to see the importance of structure. What do you mean by structure? Even this your office, without a structure, there will be no show this morning. Structure is not something that is out of this world. It is a needed requirement. How many governors have you got? Which is what Tinubu is banking on, that my governors will help me. How many senators or senatorial candidates have you got? How many people from House of Reps? How many people from House of Assembly? They haven't got much of that. You're also going to need agents nationwide, thousands of them. That will form part of your structure. So a PDP that has been in existence since 1999, how do you want to compete against them when in every word they already have their structures? In every federal constituency, they already have their structures. If you say people, we don't pay shishi, you can see how people are moving away in droves.
Welcome back. It is still Ballot 23 on 98.3 Mainland FM. I see the phone line is already passing. Just hold on. We'll open it up very soon, but we just had to play the last two voice notes so we can, quickly get on with it. This is Ballot 23, like I said, with focus on the 2023 general elections, and we're looking at so many things this morning. Now, we've talked about structure and whatnot, grassroots. The grassroots agents going out to do what it is that they need to do on election day. And we also understand the importance of it. But I'll just ask this very, very simple question. Now, I'm going to crisis in APC and the PDP, saying that what they have in APC is world war.
Volcanic eruption.
Say volcanic eruption. Do you think that is because they are the ruling party?
Well, I think it's a matter of when, not if, that a lot of this bust up would happen. And it took a deeper political dimension days to the primaries of the APC. I remember that 2 weeks to that primaries, the Mr. President met with the APC governors, and he said that since they choose their own successors at the state level, they should allow him to also choose his successor at the presidential level. And the governors were very clear on what their position is. They want power to return to the south. They didn't microzone into whether south or southeast or southwest, but they said power must return to the south. Apparently, they understood the body language of Mr. President, and they feel like, okay, maybe the president may probably want or may have wanted a northerner to replace him. 24 hours to the primaries, Senator Adamu, the national chairman of the APC, came to announce the candidacy of Senator Ahmed Lawan, the Senate president, as the candidate of the party. And that literally threw everything off. Remember, weeks before then, the now candidate of the party had an outburst in Abeokuta where he talked about how he made President Muhammadu Buhari president and all of that. So those were the build up to what we are seeing now. This policy, this new Naira policy, kind of gave the governors a platform to now express themselves. And that was the language. That was because of the language that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu brought to the table as regards sabotage. So it's not new. Prior to the 2015 election, we had this breakout in the PDP where 5 key governors of the PDP left. Now, in the APC, none of the governors are leaving yet. All of the 22 governors and the FCT are still there. The chairman of the Northern Governors Forum have been strategically placed to chair the APC Presidential Campaign Committee. All of the key governors are playing front row. I was joking with someone over the weekend that I'm not sure Ganduje have been to Kano in the last 2 months, because everywhere Tinubu is, Ganduje is there. Anywhere Tinubu is, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai is there. Anywhere Tinubu is, mostly, you see Governor, that's Professor Zulum of Borno State. These states I've mentioned are states with huge numbers. In 2019, the APC had over almost 900 million votes as against PDP 71,000 in Borno State. Go and check the numbers. So these are key states that will most likely drive moves of results or numbers for the APC. So all of this volcano, this infighting is not new. It's a very simple thing. President Muhammadu Buhari has said after his presidency, he is retiring from politics. He wants to go to Dara to chill and relax. So the soul of the party is what most of these people are fighting. And Sandra, and for let us get this on contest today. The chaos that is happening in the APC today is between the CPC faction of the APC and the ACN faction of the APC. Take it to the bank. A lot of people that were in the APC came in because of President Muhammadu Buhari, and their job in the APC is done. Babashir Lawal, the former secretary to the government of the federation, he said it clearly in an interview that he's not particularly a politician. He came into the APC because of President Muhammadu Buhari, and now that Buhari is done, he's also done, and he's supporting the Labour Party now. So these are the things you get to see. This whole chaos, this volcano that Dele Momodu is talking about, is a problem of the function of the CPC in the APC that are saying, you know what, our principal is done in this party. We don't care what happens to the party thereafter. And the PDP, the APC people saying, you know what, your principal may be done, but our own person that we are loyal to is on the ballot, and we're going to stick by him.
Those are this the 5th columnist that El-Rufai?
Oh no, you decided to break it out. I didn't mention that.
Well, I'm asking. I'm curious.
Whether 5th or 4th columnist, the reality is that there's a problem within the APC, a very big problem. I think it's good that somehow they've been able to identify it this early. You know, sometimes you have problems that are hidden until the last minute. When I say last minute, sometimes eve of elections, and then it becomes too difficult to manage. So I hope that somehow it's good that they've been able to discover it, how they want to handle it. I think it's left for the party to do that. I agree with Okpeyemi that, look, the APC came up as a result of so many, you know, it was like when you prepare,
and it was an emergency marriage. It was an emergency marriage. We just wanted anybody but Jonathan.
You had the NPDP, the new PDP, who moved the disgruntled members of the people moved into the party. You have the CPC and then the AC.
And a faction of ABGA.
Now, it's safe to say that the NPDP, they've left the party. They left in 2019.
The Sarakis,
Dino Melai's, they've gone back to the PDP. So they felt dissatisfied because, again, if you remember, what happened in 2015 was positioning. We have all worked for the party. Now, politicians would not look at immediate victory. They want to look at the next election. So they were looking at 2019. So you had a situation where the MPDP hijacked the Senate. The CPC as against it. Well, the interest of the party, which party? There was simply no party. So the CPC hijacked the presidency. While the APC then, ACN then, they hijacked the structure of the party. Producing Adams Jomole as the chairman of the party. You understand? So this one held on to the presidency, the villa. So you had people like Abba Kyari, Malami and the rest who came with the president from the CPC, and they are still holding sway in the villa. The question is, are they committed to the candidature of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Exactly.
I doubt it. Like I said, the NPDP left in 2019.
Apparently, maybe they're just reflecting what their principal is saying, because I'm not.
So how far they are going to be able to push this, how they are going to resolve this, it was at least somehow. I saw a lot of AP supporters who, you know, gloated. You know, they were so happy seeing Malami with Asiwaju in Kebbi State. And I said, look,
that's the state.
In politics, Yorubas will say, "Bo ori nu mi, bo rowo mi ori nu mi." In politics, you smile, you laugh.
There's no permanent interest.
And then what I tell you may not be what I'm even thinking in my head and what I'm working towards. You know, so that. But for the PDP, I looked at the way Bob D. Dele Momodu was talking as if all is well with the PDP and all of that. As I speak to you, there are reports, unconfirmed reports, that even the presidential campaign in Rivers State of the PDP has been cancelled. And that will be the first time that the PDP would not be holding a presidential rally in Rivers State. The chairman of the campaign council in Rivers State escaped an assassination attempt. That's to tell you that it's going to be a tough one for them. Look, whether anybody likes it or not, 5 governors within your fold, not happy with your candidate, not working for your candidate, it's a big minus, no matter the structure you talk about. Because again, if Dele Momodu talks about structure and he keeps referring to governors, has he forgotten that 5 governors of his party who are supposed to be working day and night
are staying afloat?
Not even afloat, are staying away from the candidate. Clearly, they were in Abia State. Ikpeazu
didn't attend the presidential rally.
The same thing happened in Oyo State. Seyi Makinde didn't attend the rally. Whether we like it or not, these are governors who also have a support base that they should be open to get their own states. He talked about getting 25% in the 19 northern states, and I'm wondering where is that coming from. He talked about 5 states in the south. Look, in Rivers State, what will be the performance of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar? It's too tough to say now. It's too early to say anything. In what's it called? Yes,
in Cross
River State.
Ben Ayade is a member of the APC.
Whether we like it or not, even in the south side that we're talking about, Peter Obi is going to do well. Whether it's going to be out of sentiments or emotions or the fact that people are not just happy
or protest votes
and all of that. So, like I said, it's too early to say this is what is going to happen. We can make our predictions and permutations, but I still have a feeling that we may not conclude this election on a 4th ballot.
Okay.
I mean, it's tough. I think the reality is, I think when we talk about structures, and a lot of people had failed to agree that structure goes beyond how much data you spend a week to sell a candidate on social media. Now, we made mention of over 170,000 polling units in this country. Some polling units have 4 to 5 voting points.
Lagos alone over 13,000.
Over 13,000 polling units in Lagos. And we're talking about not governorship election. We're talking about 774 local governments. And what structure does basically for you is that those places you would not be able to get to as a candidate, as a presidential candidate to campaign, the people that are contesting on the platform of your party at those places would sell your message down to the grassroots
and stand with it.
So if I talked about, maybe over 60% of these particular, election voters are not particularly, literate enough, and that's where the case of Rivers State would come to mind. Now, The presidential election, the senatorial election, and the House of Reps election is on the same day. So they'll give you 3 ballot papers.
How do you do?
The governorship election and the House of Assembly election is on the same day. They'll give you 2 ballot papers. The governorship election is pretty much easy. The immediate past accountant general, the current deputy governor of Rivers State is going to the Senate. She's going to the Senate rather. Now, how do you tell the people that for reps and Senate, vote PDP? But for presidency, vote whoever you want to vote for. There are talks now that some weekend talks that had instructed all of the stakeholders, the party chairman, the SSAs, the SAs, the special advisors and assistants to vote for Asiwaju Bola board of Asiwaju Bola amendment, even the roundabout leading to the government house. So the body language may not be clear. And for Wike to have gone to court to get an injunction that the PDP cannot suspend him, structure is very key in politics, and we cannot hide away from that. Some people would fight for you even without seeing you for once. I remember in 2017 I was in Gombe. I followed a friend of mine to Gombe during the Ramadan season, and I saw Jagaban rice in 2017 in Gombe. So the question is this: how far are your networks when it comes to the people that would sell your message and talk to the people about what your ideology is? And that's what we are saying.
And again, we are talking about the pattern of voters that we have, the coloration of voters that we have. Again, these are a lot of people who are not really educated. All of the 2 inches that we have been speaking does not even.
It doesn't concern them. The debates don't concern them.
It's about 2 steps they go with.
Friday prior to the
open up the program this morning as regards structure, the chances of the presidential polls, the crisis in the APC and the PDP, and all of that. So let's get your thoughts on what exactly you think as regards what we have had, and also the permutations given by Kwemi and Fuad Sahid as regards.
No, Fuad, he gave the bigger permutation.
You permutated.
I seconded.
No, I think we'll have more time maybe on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, we're going to break it down state by state.
Yeah.
Yes, all 36 states and the FCT are breaking it all down. And also, it's another opportunity for a lot of people to know the names of the governors of their states, so that we can, and also the party
and the candidates
and the political movers and shakers in
Ibikule Amosun and Dakwa Abiodun
and
Otegbe. Okay, so let's open up the defecting to parties. I mean, this not just lightweights in the party. So you have defections to other parties. You have the fact that the current CBN policy, the naira redesign policy, is being heavily policed in the PDP and the APC. Okay, all of these things put it together as what will happen on March 11 for the gubernatorials and the state elections. Also very important but there are going to be 3 different ballot papers on election day. I would never forget the first time I voted red box. They said there was a miss.
That was even direction.
They mistagged it.
Voters just want to print on the same political party, and
some of them would even print and go into
but the reason why I would argue
and
with
the logo
that,
of the parties in their head.
The reason why I would argue with that is because this election is
one presidential, one governorship, one senatorial, and
I've seen about 3 in this Lagos, different political parties, and I also know that they sent the obedient movement. Maybe we are. Or, just as you have predicted, all of this is just a play out that would communicate to a runoff as predicted by everybody here.
It's okay.
It's okay. Thank you. 091 36 000 410 091 36 000 410. That's the number for you to call. If you'd like to send a text message, you can also do that. You can also send a WhatsApp message. Let's get the conversation rolling. We have just a few minutes before the wrap up of the show. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Sandra.
Afternoon. Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yes, my name is Don Peters. Good morning, Fuhad.
Yeah, good afternoon,
sir. Yes, on the subject matter, you see, Dere Momodu is a politician and he is entitled to his own opinion. Believe you me, Nigerian people are going to vote not on regional line or political line, but we are going to vote based on what is before us, the hardship in the land. Because nobody that have been helped in this country by any political party or any regional whatever, all the whole regions are facing the insecurity. All the whole regions are facing the cash crunch. all the whole region are facing the high, rate of food and everything. So believe you me, Nigerian people are going to vote by what we are facing. And in the 11 days time, God spare our life. We are going to see that Nigerian people will win by the end of the day. No politician, big wit or whatever, that will win this, apart from the people of Nigeria. And we are going to win by taking back our country from all these politicians. They are here now speaking a lot of things, give us a lot of permutation. But we are determined to take back our country, and we know the continent we have in mind that we are going to keep behind. So thanks a lot. Anybody can say whatever he wishes, but we are determined to do what we want to do. Thanks a lot, because power belongs to all the people.
Thanks
you.
A lot, Don Peters. Appreciate. 091-36000410. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Ibayola from Aju.
Okay.
I'd love to admonish every Nigerian, all Nigerians, all ethnic, to listen to our inner conscience, our inner voice, the voice of the Spirit in us, in everything we want to do, to use our conscience to vote for whom our inner voice dictates to us to do the right thing. With that, nothing will ever go wrong.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate. Just in furtherance of what he said, someone posted recently that I don't trust the wisdom of some people. So if you say tell people to vote wisely, some people's wisdom is some people's
but their wisdom is still their wisdom.
Specific.
Some people's wisdom is some people's foolishness.
But their wisdom is still their wisdom.
It's still their wisdom.
And that's
their own.
democracy
They're
at work.
entitled to it, and they're entitled to it. But just as
and it's one man, one vote.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Yes, now.
No, I get.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is Seni. I'm calling from Kushofe.
Oseni, good afternoon. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so as the election is approached, we Nigerians, if we not take care, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, we are going to lose. So
We are going to lose.
Oh.
yes, I have my reasons.
Okay.
I have learned a wonderful lesson from Ghana and United States.
Okay.
In their own time, you will see, if you follow the record correctly, it is hardly for them to allow a ruling party that ruled them for 8 years to continue. And, by doing so, they checkmate the embezzlement and whatever the past administration did. So a new government will take over, and expose if there is any wrongdoing in the previous administration. Because the way we are going divided, the so-called opposition, the so-called people who want to change in this country, going divided from who are now likely their house is in order. I'm telling you, by the end of the day, even if there is going to be runoff, the APC will come first too. Unless if before that election, these people, Konkoso, Peter Obi, and Atiku Abubakar, will sit down and say, okay, in the life of Nigeria, it's not in our own interest now. For Nigerian interest, we should do something in order, to liberate Nigeria at least from this government, so that if an opposition party can win the election at the end of the day, they are going to expose so many dubious activities that took place in the last 8 years.
Okay.
Otherwise, APC will go ahead and win the election, and the cover of continue and lamentation for all of us to come and continue. Because why? By the time we have now to put things right, to put our differences aside and debate the country, we have not done that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Hello. Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is Odin. I'm calling from Ajabule.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Sandra, and I think you do a very nice job.
Thank you, Mina.
Yeah, I want to take Nigeria back to what happened in the Bible when David used 124 Goliath. There are so many Goliaths in this country. There are so many Goliaths in this country. And this Goliath, they believe that their parties or where they belong will choose them. But the time has come for them to understand that only a stone can fall all of them. A stone can fall all of them. And I'm very happy that citizens, the Nigerians, they have woke up and see where they have been making these mistakes for a very long time. I don't believe for somebody to come out and say, I cross my heart. My party must win. I cross my heart. I have 24 governors. I have 25 governors. It's only just let me say few hours. Everything will be cleared. If I am there, what I will do is to humble myself because I don't know what will happen next. The person you expect that will have that vote the win can lose, and all your bragging and everything you are saying will go down. Now, this APC have 22 governors in the north, everywhere. Those governors only have one vote. How many local governments are in those states? That governor, are you coming out on the election day to go and teach every local government to tell people what to do? In what we are passing through in this country, people are not happy. And I'm happy that the Nigerians are ready to change things by themselves.
Thank you, Mr.
I believe that the Goliath will fall down with a stone. That's what I believe.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Obinam. I wanted to ask what the stone it would be. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Emeka calling from Ikeja.
Okay, Mr. Emeka, please go ahead.
Okay, I like your permutations. It's subjective. That is the baseline there. What Ballot Momodu said is not bad. It's based on empirical data. I told some people some time ago that if Tinubu and Nelson Wike are not careful with their ambition, the power might go back to the north. And the way Wike was pushing the whole narrative is making Northerners to be somehow coming closer to Atiku. I'm assuring you that P2B will come second in the northern voters. Those people deceiving Ballot Tinubu that they will deliver to him. The North will consider tribe first, religion second. Atiku is a northerner. Atiku is a Muslim, more Muslim than Ballot Tinubu. So the issue of religion will not sell any candidate in the North. You understand? That is one.
Okay.
The Northeast, the Plateau State, where the leader of Tinubu campaign comes from, had the highest number of the obedient in the whole of Northern State. I don't see how we can deliver Plateau State to him. Come to Ebonyi State, where this man is claiming to be in charge. That is where P2B has had the highest number of people. In River State, considering the fact that nobody knows where he is going because he has burnt all the bridges he has built in the past. He will not deliver anybody.
All right, Mr.
The only thing he can give anybody in that state is money. And money will not determine what will happen in that election.
Thank you, Mr.
Let me be honest to you. P2B will come second in Southwest. P2B will win Southeast and South. And we chunk of vote in the North Central. If there should be runoff, I'm seeing it as a runoff between Atiku and P2B.
It's okay.
Tinubu is out of the race. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emeka. I like the fact that when he started that he enjoyed our permutations and the fact that it is subjective,
of course,
as just as his own too is very interesting. But Yemi, what is happening in Plateau State?
Like I said, nothing really.
Special reporter from Plateau State.
It's just there. The chairman of the APC presidential campaign committee is condemned to deliver his states. He's a governor. He also has senatorial ambition, and of course, so
choosing him was strategic.
He's absolutely strategic. In short, prior to when Kashima was eventually picked, there were a lot of insinuations and mobilization that it was going to be Governor Simon Bakula.
Plateau State is you can't say APC rules Plateau State.
Like I said, it's one of the very delicate states in this country. APC holds heavy sway on the plateau. despite the fact that they have a governor that has been there for almost 8 years right now, the voice of the opposition on the plateau is as loud as you can ever imagine. And funny enough, the APC candidate on the plateau for governorship was the former resident electoral commissioner in Benue State, Dr. Nentawe. He was the one that first used the word inconclusive election when he was the rec in Benue State. So you understand, see, this politics, this 2023
Let's
election,
take one more
is going to
call
be funny.
and then wrap things up for today. Hello.
I'm very, very happy that I'm the last caller.
Okay. Good afternoon. Your name, please.
This is Taiwo calling from at the moment.
Okay.
Taiwo.
Taiwo, you may need to speak a little louder. We can barely hear you.
Okay, is it clear now?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Okay, I was using my Bluetooth before. So, I've been listening to several callers.
You have just 1 minute, though.
Okay, I believe it's one man, one vote. So, whenever people are calling, they should believe that it's one man, one vote. They should stop using we Nigerians. They should speak to themselves. We Nigerians, we cannot vote a certain candidate at the same time. So they should stop using we Nigerians. I'm part of Nigeria too. So I might not vote.
Are you jackpine?
I think the message. No, I think the message is clear.
He said you'll be out of Nigeria soon. I wanted
Is that
to
what he
know.
said?
There's now that he may not vote, so but he just wants to drop his
He
own.
said he may not vote for their candidate, and that was what I was
He
trying
said,
to
but I
say.
heard I'll be out of Nigeria. Did you hear that?
I did not even hear. You should stay and vote.
He should wait and vote before he goes. That's what I wanted to say. But let's wrap things up now. Interesting permutations. I can't wait for Wednesday when we break it down, state by state and look at what exactly each state may or may not produce for the elections. Because this is okay. We still have about 3 more ballot 23s before the presidential election. So there's still a whole lot for us to break down, so we can know what exactly we may be looking forward to on Saturday next week. So just one word so we can go.
Well, I still think that we're not going to conclude the presidential election on the first ballot. We may be having a runoff for the first time, and I also fear that after the general elections, both the one of February 25 and March 11, the courts are going to be filled up with all manner of court cases, all manner of litigation. Because again, we rushed through with the Electoral Act. A lot of loopholes are still in the electoral that we don't know about. And with the interesting, decisions that we're getting from the courts, I have my fears that we may be producing senators, presidents, House of Press members
That are just interim.
that are interim, and eventually we may have the courts decide against the mandates of the people.
Let's not even go there, because I wanted to talk about that, but there's no time. Yes, because that's Akpabio and let's leave Akpabio. That Lawan case is and Machina case is
Well, today is 13th of February, and it's World Radio Day. And this celebration is not even for those of us speaking here. It is for everyone that takes their time to get through to us. It's tough. I've had to contribute on radio stations sometimes, and I know how difficult it is. It is your day. I mean, we're celebrating, and the theme of today is Radio for Peace.
Let's be peaceful.
Even as we go to the polls. That's how I'll end that way. Thank you very much, Fuad Said Okwemi Akiyonde. Join Okwemi Akiyonde by 4 p.m. in the Situation Room. And of course, the conversation always continues right here on 98.3 Milan FM, the sound of Lagos.